Hello, everybody. It's me, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. It's Friday, May 19th, 2023. Sorry for the late start. It's about 5:40 in the afternoon. For those of you that are loyal subscribers or followers of me, you already know by now that I had to have meniscus surgery done on my knee. I tore it. I fell off a ladder. Missed the Space Star Radio fan party that I was supposed to be in attendance at and speaking at in Vegas. Can't do it. Doctor won't let me fly. And I guess, that makes sense. After all, I just had surgery about 10 hours ago. But the show must go on. This is a little different. This is not Bigfoot. This is not Dogman. This is something that I actually read a bunch of articles on and did some research on. And I refashioned it as not to plagiarize myself for you guys. So we're talking UFOs, 1994 Michigan UFO sightings. You guys are open-minded. We got to give it a break sometimes from the cryptids, don't we? Well, that's up to you. Rob, if this sucks, you don't want to hear it, leave a comment. If you enjoy it, leave a comment. The super thanks is open. I put some time into this. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Please like, share, and subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. Let's get on with it. Perhaps the most enigmatic or popular story dates back to 1994 with the Michigan UFO sightings. An extremely high volume of UFO sightings, over 300 UFOs, you guys, were being called into weather stations across the state just off of Lake Michigan, off of the shoreline. This is the story. This is a quoted conversation between Jack Bushong of the National Weather Service in Muskegon, Michigan, and Central Dispatch. And it goes as quoted, Jack Bushong speaking. This is the National Weather Service in Muskegon. I was calling to make sure that the person that called me was not a hoax. He was one of our dispatchers rambling on about bright lights in the sky. This is Central Dispatch retorting. We have been chasing lights all out that way. Jack Bushong. What do they look like? Central Dispatch. I don't know. We got a report of something with lights on its that are sitting horizontally. 3 to 4 lights going on at a high rate of speed up and down and all over the sky. This event took place in the evening of March 8th, 1994. Many ufologists and researchers have claimed this to be one of the most thoroughly researched events, and indeed find this account to be true and accurate according to the findings in the multitude of reports submitted by both civilians and law enforcement that were dispatched to the scene along Lake Michigan. The shoreline ran as far as Muskegon to some 20 miles south to Holland, Michigan. The majority of these reports describe the objects to be of a cylinder shape or round. Vast colors of reds, blues, and greens, and white was the most common description. Many of the witnesses involved almost described them as reminding them of Christmas colors, traveling at extremely high rates of speed, darting both vertically and horizontally over Lake Michigan. Jack Bushong was working the 4 p.m. to 12 midnight shift when approximately between the hours of 10 p.m. to midnight is when the majority of the calls were phoned in. With the phone ringing off the hook and the conversation with Central Dispatch, this is when Bushong took over. He took over the radar and turned to manual interface to monitor the areas that had been repeatedly called in upon to him. Jack navigated the radar. He took note that it was a clear sky, no storms, no rain, no commercial or private aircraft had been detected or called in, as well as limited to zero cloud cover. The night was clear, with 100% visibility. Then he saw the very first object come into view on the radar. It was a round shape that hovered approximately 8,000 feet above ground, and it was traveling at a speed of 100 miles per hour. Then, this same object started to dart upwards, or vertically, to heights of 10,000 to 20,000 feet in a matter of seconds. At one point, quotes Jack, the object soared to well over 60,000 feet. The extreme case and the extreme ease and fluidity of the apparent craft moved gradually and had Mr. Bushrong staring in amazement and awe. Then, again, with the Jack in manual control of the radar equipment, what seemed to be an apparent fleet of these cylindrical objects appeared on radar. They seemed to take a formation of what appeared to be that of a triangular shape. The radar picked up these objects as being four abreast of each other, keeping tightly in formation, about 20 feet apart, keeping the triangular shape hovering in the sky. There seemed to be up to 10 or 12 fleets of the hovering craft that began to flood his radar. Again, with four craft compromising the triangular pattern, when all of a sudden the UFOs separated about 20 miles of each other and began their ascension upwards to 40,000 to 60,000 feet. Speeds now surpassed 100 miles per hour. All the squadrons started darting to the southern edge of the Michigan Triangle, where they all hovered together. Now, you guys, there's a Michigan Triangle in the Great Lakes on Lake Michigan. I don't know the coordinates, but there is one out there, much like the Bermuda Triangle, a lot of shipwrecks and things of that nature. I'm not getting into that at this point. But all these tightly bound formations melded together in what appeared to be a giant spacecraft. It is more important to note that Lake Michigan was covered with over 75% of ice during this time. The spot where these craft were hovering was directly above one of the few spots on the lake that was totally melted. The upward darting into the sky stopped as the armada just seemed to hover above the melted part of the lake, now down to about 5,000 feet. Then the giant blip on the radar vanished from controls. Across this 20-mile span that this phenomena took place, and after months of investigation, most air traffic controllers, weather hubs, and other specialized scientific outlets confirmed and reported almost identical data. Most ufologists conclude with the heavy data and the similarities of this night's events do believe that on March 8th in 1994 over Lake Michigan that something otherworldly took place. The sheer speed, the angles, and the falling off radar is a technology that we do not know of. It does not exist within our own Navy or Air Force. Bill Konakaleski, director of the Michigan chapter of MUFON, which is the Mutual UFO Network, states that this is the biggest event ever to be investigated by the organization. It is said that MUFON, usually up to 80% of the time, can come up to a logical explanation of UFO phenomena. This case, however, up until even today, cannot be explained. This is just one of the many mysteries of Michigan and probably the most noteworthy. If you are into all things strange, mysterious, and unexplained, plan a trip to Michigan and do some investigations. In conclusion, the one thing that baffles me the most is the formulation of one of the giant craft that falls off the radar over the melted part of Lake Michigan. During this entire story, we heard about the darting upwards on many different altitudes at high rates of speed. It just vanishes? I do find that to be odd, you guys. Early on, I wrote about the deep military underground bases that we do have in Michigan. This is not speculation, but fact. It is there. It's for real. Is there a reason why this secluded or the section of Lake Michigan was melted? Again, as I mentioned earlier, there was like an expanse. The entire Lake Michigan was 75% frozen, where these craft hovered over, there was a melted out area where the water was flowing. Could this be a dumb, deep underground military base? If not ours, perhaps is it alien? Well, I don't have the answer to that, you guys. I will tell you this, somebody knows. This is food for thought. I thought it was a fantastic reading. The Michigan UFO Encounters, 1994. What we had was a plethora of craft, hundreds of aircraft. They form together. They make one huge armada, which ends up turning into one big craft. Then all of a sudden, you guys, it darts down into the melted part of Lake Michigan and vanishes. Are there aliens? Are there alien bases in Lake Michigan? I would speculate that there probably are. I've heard of them being in Lake Superior and all over the Great Lakes. In fact, for those of you that live in Michigan, or live in Michigan, excuse me, the Great Lakes do provide a lot of fantastic ufology, a lot of UFO sightings. I believe this took place. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, recovering from surgery. It's Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Leave a comment. Should I do more of these, or you want me to stick with the cryptids? But I'm going to publish this. I hope you liked it. I love you all. Thank you once again for subscribing and share this out. Bigfoot Michigan Rob, operating on one foot. Operating on one foot. Love you all. Peace. Until next time, I'm out.